You know that feeling, that gnawing exhaustion, where you're working harder than you ever have before, but your goals just seem to drift further and further away? It's like you're running towards a horizon that just keeps moving back, a race you feel like you can never, ever win. Well, what if I told you that's not a personal failure? What if that constant struggle, that feeling of running in place, isn't your fault at all? What if the real problem is hiding in plain sight, in the very money that's in your wallet and your bank account?
Welcome to Animeconomy. Today, we're diving deep into a book that completely pulls back the curtain on this hidden reality, The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. And look, this isn't just about crypto. No, this is about the 5,000-year history of money itself and how it secretly, powerfully shapes our lives, our culture, and our entire future.
So stick with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover exactly why some societies blossomed while others just collapsed, all because of the kind of money they used. We're going to expose the invisible mechanism that is silently stealing your wealth every single day. And most importantly, we're going to explore a digital answer to this ancient problem, an answer someone predicted decades before it even existed. Let's get into it. Okay, so you can really think of all of economic history as one long, epic battle, a constant hunt for one single thing: sound, reliable money. And Ammous argues that this entire battle boils down to one absolutely crucial concept that decides whether a society thrives or just falls apart. And that concept is called the stock-to-flow ratio. Now, it sounds complicated, but it's actually super simple and powerful. Stock is just the total amount of something that's already out there. Flow is the new amount we can create each year. So a high ratio means it's incredibly difficult to make a lot more of it compared to what already exists. That difficulty right there is the secret to money that actually holds its value over time. And this really sets up the two sides of our story. On one side, you've got the hero, hard money. It's tough to produce, so it protects your wealth. It encourages you to save and to build for the future. And on the other side, you've got easy money. It's simple to make more of it, which means it is always losing value. It basically punishes savers and pushes everybody towards spending and getting into debt. And believe me, history is just littered with the ghosts of societies that chose easy money. For example, take the island of Yap. For centuries, their money was these things called rye stones, these massive limestone wheels that were insanely difficult to carve and then haul from another island miles away. I mean, they were the ultimate hard money. Their stock-to-flow was huge. But then, an outsider, a guy named David O'Keefe, shows up with modern ships and tools. Suddenly, he could crank out new rye stones with ease, flooding the island with them. And just like that, the islanders' hard-earned wealth, stored for generations, was completely destroyed. Their money became easy. And it wasn't a one-off thing. The same exact tragedy hit West African societies. They used these rare, beautiful glass agri-beads as money. They were hard to find, hard to make, but when Europeans arrived, they figured out how to mass-produce identical beads in factories. So they traded these cheap, easy-to-make beads for real resources, literally draining the wealth of entire cultures, turning their money into worthless trinkets. See the pattern? In both cases, the principle is exactly the same. When money becomes easy to make, the people who hold it become poor. So after thousands of years of this kind of brutal trial and error, the free market finally landed on the ultimate form of hard money. This wasn't ordered by some king, it was just chosen. Gold. Why? Well, its chemistry makes it super durable, and most importantly, its stock-to-flow ratio is naturally the highest of any commodity on Earth. You just can't make a whole lot more of it no matter how hard you try. And this discovery? It kicked off an era of absolutely unprecedented progress. This all came to a head in an era called the La Belle Epoque, the Beautiful Era. From 1871 to 1914, pretty much the whole world was on the gold standard. And because people had stable, reliable money, they could actually save and invest for the long term with confidence. And the result? Whoa! An explosion of human ingenuity. The telephone, the light bulb, the car, the airplane. I mean, our entire modern world was basically born in this period of sound money. The economist Ludwig von Mises just nailed it. Sound money wasn't just some boring economic tool. It was the actual foundation for a freer, more prosperous world. It put a check on the power of governments, and it fueled global trade and cooperation. It was a golden age, in literally every sense of the word. So this leads to the big, obvious question, right? If the world was experiencing this incredible peace and prosperity, why on earth would we give that up? Well, the answer lies in the one single event that shattered this beautiful era and changed the nature of money forever. Yeah, the story takes a really dark turn in 1914 with the start of World War I. All of a sudden, governments were desperate. They needed to fund a massive, unbelievably destructive war. But they had a huge problem. Their spending was physically limited by how much gold they had in their vaults. Sound money was a restraint on their power. It was like handcuffs.
So what did they do? They broke the golden fetters. One by one, the major economies of the world just walked away from the gold standard. They cut the link between their paper money and physical gold, which meant they could print as much money as they wanted to fund the war. This was the great betrayal. The market's choice for money was thrown out and replaced by government-mandated or fiat money. And we have been living with the consequences ever since.
So what actually happens when money is no longer hard but easy? When it's not controlled by the laws of physics, but by the whims of politicians and central bankers? Well, we enter the world of fiat money, and its costs are hidden, they're sneaky, and they affect every single one of us.
Okay, so here's how the magic trick works. It's called the Cantillon effect. When new money is created, it's not like everyone gets a check. No, it's injected right at the top, to governments, to banks, to giant corporations. They get to spend it first, buying stuff at today's prices. But as that new money trickles down through the economy, it makes all the prices go up. So by the time it finally reaches you, your salary, your savings, its purchasing power has already been eaten away. And that is the absolute key. That treadmill you feel like you're on, it's real. The system is literally designed to transfer wealth away from the last people to get the new money, savers, people on a fixed income, you and me, and give it to the first people who get it. It's a hidden tax that punishes saving and rewards debt. You know, if this idea is clicking for you, take a second to like this explainer and share it with someone who really needs to understand this. But the damage goes so much deeper than just our bank accounts. It actually rewires our brains through something called time preference. Just think of that famous Stanford marshmallow experiment. A kid gets offered 1 marshmallow now, or 2 if they can just wait 15 minutes. That choice, it reveals their time preference. Low time preference is being able to wait for that bigger reward. High time preference is wanting it now. Well, sound money encourages low time preference, but easy money, money that's always losing value, it forces us all to have high time preference. I mean, why would you save for tomorrow if you know your money is just going to be worth less?
And this isn't a theory. The data is absolutely staggering. Just look at this. In 1970, right before the gold standard was totally ditched, the average savings rate in the world's biggest economies was over 12%. Fast forward to 2015, and it had collapsed to just over 3%. Our money has literally trained us to stop thinking about the future.
And this shift to high time preference has massive cultural consequences. Think about the great cathedrals of Europe, built over centuries by people who knew they would never ever live to see them finished. That is low time preference in action. Now compare that to today's culture of disposable everything and instant gratification. When a society stops valuing the long term, it just eats away at our craftsmanship, our patience, and our focus on building anything that lasts.
For 100 years, it really seemed like there was no escape from this system of easy money. But then, in 2009, born from the ashes of the financial crisis, a new challenger emerged from the digital world, one that was designed from the ground up to be a solution to this 5,000-year-old problem.
And what's really wild is that decades before it ever existed, the economist F.A. Hayek basically predicted its arrival. He knew that good money would never be handed back to us by governments. He said it had to be introduced in some sly, roundabout way that they just couldn't stop.
Okay, this is where it all comes together. Let's put the contenders head to head. Gold is awesome, it's scarce, and it's sovereign, but it's a real pain to divide and move around in a digital world. Fiat currency, dollars and euros, it's easy to move around, but it fails the most important test. It is not scarce, and it's definitely not sovereign. It's controlled by a central authority. But Bitcoin, well, it kind of takes the best of both worlds. It's digital, portable, and divisible, like fiat, but it also has the hard money properties of gold, and in one absolutely crucial way, it's even better. Its scarcity isn't just relative, it is absolute and unchangeable, hard-coded forever at 21 million, and it's totally sovereign. Nobody controls it.
And so, after this huge journey through monetary history, it all comes down to us. It comes down to a choice that every single one of us has to make today. And it's a choice that goes way beyond what you use to buy a cup of coffee.
The real choice is this. Do we continue to live in a high time preference world? A world of consumption, of debt, of instant gratification, all fueled by money that's designed to lose its value? Or do we choose to step into a low time preference world? A world of saving, of building, of long-term thinking, enabled by money that is designed to hold its value? So,
I want to leave you with this one question. If you had a form of savings that nobody could print more of, money that held its value across time, how would that change the way you plan your life? How would you invest in yourself, in your family, in your future, differently? Really think about that, and let me know what you think in the comments below.
Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive.
You know, the fact that you stayed all the way to the end means you're not just curious, you are genuinely committed to understanding how the world actually works. And that discipline, that focus, that alone separates you from the vast majority of people.
If you want to keep going on this journey, make sure you subscribe to Animeconomy. Here, we turn really complex ideas in economics, politics, and power into clear visual stories, so you can really get how the world works.
And of course, if you want the full, incredibly detailed argument, I cannot recommend the Bitcoin Standard enough. We've put a link for it right down in the description for you.